That was amazing. Great girls, great groups.
Definitely. I've got some good teams, good players.
All right, it's 7:01. In order to respect everybody's time, let's start, and then everybody else who is joining us can join us whenever they're able to. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for the BSC Fall 2020 webinar. Tonight, we have Coach Duško, Executive Director. Duško, say hello.
Hi, parents. Thanks for coming to the meeting.
And the coach, Jackie, who is also the Assistant Club Culture Director.
Evening, everyone. Thanks for coming.
So I'm going to dive right into it. Oh, by the way, my name is Nemanja Čolović. I'm the Director of Goalkeeping and General Manager of the club. I'm the one who is spamming you with all the emails and notifications. I'm going to share the presentation. It's going to be a very brief presentation, and then we'll leave a lot of time for Q&A. You probably received a request a couple of days ago to submit your questions via form. For those who have not done that, but they have questions, please wait for the end of the meeting. After we finish the presentation, we'll go to Q&A, and then if your question is not answered, because there's a lot of questions that cover a lot of stuff, if there are any questions that are not covered in our Q&A, then we'll give some time for additional Q&A. If you hover over your screen, you'll see a Q&A button, 2 chat clouds. You just click on it and you type in your question. But please, please wait until we are done with those questions that were submitted in advance, because there is a 99% chance that we will probably cover that question during the Q&A for the questions that were submitted in advance. Okay, so I will share the screen with you. Jackie and Duško, you also let me know if you can see it. Let me see.
You're still getting some parents joining us.
Okay, Duško and Jackie, can you see the screen?
Yes.
You can see it clearly?
Yes, I can see.
Okay, perfect. So again, everybody welcome, Fall 2020. The goal of tonight's webinar is to go over the following agenda. To address quickly the Fall 2020, what entails indoor training, outdoor camps, Zoom sessions, the latest updates we received from both NorCal and CCSL leagues, some important reminders for going forward, and then Q&A, okay? So again, welcome to Fall 2020 season. This year we started 3 weeks earlier than usual, started on July 6th, and we will end on December 11th. The reason why we started earlier, one of the reasons, was to make up for some time that was lost in the spring due to the pandemic, but also to kind of have a soft start so we can adjust going forward and support our players in the best way possible, since you know everything is so rapidly changing every day, and we've been trying to adjust the best way we can. Currently, the situation for 2020, at the moment, the city and the county, they do not allow any organized sports on their fields. So they're not even renting the fields out to any organized sport users. This is the reason why we are not outdoor. And this is not only the Burlingame, but all the cities in the county. The only way to use the fields and to have any activity is through the camp structure. Okay, camp, what's called essential daycare / summer camps. Okay, and we'll delve into that in just a minute. Currently, what we are offering to all our teams, currently we have 713 players. So all of our 713 players have an opportunity to do training at our indoor facility at the Burlingamer twice a week. There are 3 Zoom sessions per week right now, 2 that are live streamed from Burlingamer, and then 1 standard Zoom session. And then starting July 27th, next week, we will do 3 rounds of 3-week camps. So this all is offered to all our players at the BSC, okay? And then another important update for the fall 2020 is that registration for the players will be open in the next couple of days. So far, everybody who is part of the club accepted the placement offer, the offer that the coach sent earlier in the spring, or for some players during the summer who were trying out. And then the rest of the information, as well as the outstanding balance, will be due in a couple of days. You will receive a notification from the club. Okay, so indoor training. We've sent multiple emails. We also shot some videos and instructions. I will share the video again. I will put it on screen right now, just for the ones who were not able to see the video. Dushko, Jackie, can you see the YouTube? No? Okay.
No, not yet. I can't.
Yeah. You see it?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, let me do a new share. Okay, then I should be able to see. Everybody should be able to see this. Can we see the video?
Yes, we do it now.
Okay, perfect. So the Berlin Gamer training, I'm gonna pause it right here. The safety measures are strictly enforced. So the players are staged outside at the drop-off area, as you can see in the video. The players are staged there until the entire team arrives at 6 feet apart from each other. Then the coach leads the way into the facility where the players, if you can see, the player is rubbing the shoes, the bottom of the shoe, the soles at the mat, which is stopped with a liquid, with a disinfectant. Then they sanitize their hands and get their temperature checked by coach. At the same time, coaches and players are required to wear a mask. Social distancing is practiced at all times. So as the coach is directing the players to their boxes, they're always keeping 6 feet apart minimum. Here you can see that each player is inside of their own box, where they remain for the entire duration of the session. Coaches do the same thing. The boxes are 6 feet apart, as you can see, and then there's always an average of 13 feet between each player, which is more than double to what's required from the authorities. We sanitize the court every hour, every session. So in between each session, the entire court is sanitized. The balls are sanitized. The cones, if they're used, they're sanitized as well. And then after the session, the coach, while enforcing the physical distancing, escorts the players out into the staging waiting area where the players are waiting for their parents to be safely picked up at the side of the Berlin game. Okay, let me share back what we were sharing earlier. Sorry about that. Okay. So safety guidelines, as you can see, are strictly enforced. It's been now 2.5 weeks. We had some great time. The kids, the parents, the testimonies we received so far, parents and the kids are enjoying the session. They are mainly technical in nature, some physical, psychomotricity, due to the limitations, right? We cannot do the full contact competition, but they are definitely working a lot on their individual skills and physical as well. Some injury prevention exercises as well. Live streaming. So for those who are not comfortable with attending the in-person trainings that are indoor, we are now live streaming them. So you can watch them twice a week. If you have any questions, please reach out straight to your coach. If you're not sure how to access the Zoom link, your coach, your head coach, will have a link for you. It should have been posted on your BIGA. If it's not, please reach out to your coach and they will share the link with you. It should be in the notes of your BIGA event, okay? So that is for the Berlin Gamer indoor training. Outdoor camps. So as I said earlier, the only way to go outdoor and have any kind of activity, training, camp, call it whatever, we have to call it camps because it is a camp structure. But this is the only way for us to provide actual outdoor training. And the city and the authorities require this camp, in order to qualify as a camp, it needs to be minimum 3 times a week for 3 hours per day for 3 consecutive weeks. Okay, so we are doing 3 rounds of camps so we can get everybody in the club to get 3 weeks outdoor. Okay, so every team will have a camp. They will rotate in 3 rounds. This is a phase 2, which means there is equipment sharing, which means players can pass the ball to each other, players can shoot on goal, but there is no physical contact, which means that the competition will still happen, but it will be non-contact competition. The games and the drills that the coaches will do will be definitely competitive. There will be competition between the players, but they will not be able to fully engage in a real soccer game, unfortunately. But it's still a very exciting for the coaches and for the players to still be able to use the whole space and do much more than in the closed 10 by 10 box. Safety guidelines. We will have 2 stations for sanitization of hands, shoes, and balls, one at the entry point and one at the exit point. So there will be a bathroom, and I'll address the question. There was another question about bathrooms. I can tackle it now. The bathrooms, regular bathrooms, city bathrooms are not, the city is not allowing us to use that, so we have a porta potty, or porta potties there. This way, only one person will be in the bathroom at a time, and we will have designated waiting spots outside to ensure safety and health of our players. Temperature check and COVID questionnaire is something that will be happening every day. If you looked at our procedures and guidelines that we sent even before the Berlin Gamer training, it's still happening every day before every session. There are 4 questions that coaches are asking each player before the session starts, and it is about COVID-19 symptoms. And if any of these 4 symptoms or all 4 questions are answered positively, the coach calls a player's parents or guardians to pick the player up. Okay, and then the temperature check again is done with the contactless thermometers, just like at the Berlin game. Here you can see the way we are laying out these 4 fields. So there are 4 pods of 12. So these pods are mandated to be 12-player max. So how does it work? We had a registration. Based on the registration, we have created 2 pods, if you will, that will be next to each other. So if you look, field 1 and field 2, for example, they will start at 8 a.m. to allow all the players to come in, do all the procedures before they start. And then at 8:30, field 3 and 4 will come in. At each of these fields, there is up to 12 players max with 1 coach, okay? So there's a staggered time to allow for a better, obviously better traffic flow for drop-off and for pickup, but also to minimize overlap of different pods and eradicate any possible contact of different groups. If you look at the blue channels, this is the way the players will be moving. This is the blue ones is the entrance, and then you will see there is only 1 exit point. So on the upper part, right next to the roundabout, that is where the entrance is, and then the exit is on the bottom side towards the golf course. So the exits will take place at that side, and then all the pickups will happen right at the back of the Mexican restaurant. Okay, the city approved these spots and thought this would be the best and safest spots for waiting and for pickup. Drop off should be very quick. Coach or a parent volunteer who is helping with one of the pods will be there to greet and to direct the player to make sure that they disinfect their hands, their shoes, and their ball before they go to the field. And the same will happen at the exit. They will disinfect the ball and their hands. Okay. I will share this also over the weekend with everybody, so everybody knows exactly where to drop off and where to pick up their child during the camp. And there you see maximum of 48 players, meaning 4 pods of 12 is the max. So a little bit about the camp format. So there will be plenty of technical exercises, passing, shooting, dribbling. There will be some tactical sessions. I'm sure that players and coaches miss that a lot. But these technical and tactical are great, but let's not forget that it's been so long since our player and coaches have been interacting. Yes, they were the Berlin Gamer for some time. Some of them have not attended the Berlin Gamer session. A huge component of all this is a social, emotional component. You know, training with the teammates again, having snack breaks, water breaks, which we'll talk a little bit more into detail later. And you will receive, each team will receive guidelines from their coach, how the camp will be structured. But each camp will have technical and tactical components to it. How it will be structured, what time they will do their water breaks, a snack break, that is up to the coach, and they're working on the camp structure, and we'll be emailing it to you. Okay, so again, to reiterate, the phase 2, no physical contact. Nobody's allowed to touch each other. They can play and stay at some distance without engaging in physical contact. Okay, this is the phase 2 requirement. Zoom sessions. All right. Most of you probably have had your children attend their Zoom sessions. For those who have not, please have one soccer ball ready and a few cones. If you don't have cones, it's fine. You can grab a couple of shoes, a couple of socks. We've been getting creative with the players over the past couple of months. So not everybody needs to go out and purchase the cones. You can use whatever small objects you have in the house to use them as cones. Try to position the camera close to the wall, because very often the coach does passing and receiving exercises for which we need the wall to bounce the ball off. We definitely miss being on the field, and we can wait to go back to normal, hopefully in the near future. But it is hard to neglect what the silver lining was during all this chaos in the last couple of months, which is the technical benefits that Zoom sessions provided, believe it or not. All the players were doing mostly technical skills exercises on the Zoom. We still continue to do most of that at the Berlin Gamer as well. We are adding also some other stuff, but all players are noticeably better technically after all these couple of months of doing Zoom. So a silver lining of this pandemic was definitely the technical benefits that the players had because of the Zoom trainings. We for sure do not wish to continue this forever, but I just wanted to mention that because I think that going to Berlin Gamer and just looking at many sessions, I can see how even the youngest players have acquired some skills in the past couple of months attending the Zoom sessions. As I mentioned earlier, Berlin Gamer sessions are now live streamed on Zoom, not only for the players who are not comfortable to be there in person, but also, you know, going away. There are some families going vacations, going to Tahoe. Why not jump on the tablets and on Zoom and do a session and give them a good workout, right? So please use live stream when you're away as well. And again, just a reminder that all Zoom sessions are posted on Baiga. If you have difficulty finding it, or if you have something that needs to be clarified, please always reach out to your team head coach first, because they have the most accurate information for your own team. Latest league updates. So NorCal and the CCL League, these are the two leagues that we are participating in, both postponed the start of the league to the September 12th. So instead of mid-August, end of August, when it usually starts for CCSL, they moved it to September 12th. Okay, again, this is based on public health measures, if they are supportive of this. If they are not, they will probably further postpone the beginning of the league. In the worst case scenario, if the league is canceled, the Birmingham Soccer Club will try to organize a local competition, meaning reaching out to the clubs from the peninsula and organized some play dates and some scrimmages and games. Again, if allowed by public authorities, if the public health measures allow so. If they do not, then we will do our best, again, based on public health measures, to do some internal competition, create some scrimmages and mini tournaments, 5v5, 6v6, 7v7, in-house. Okay. Going forward, please be on time. This is more needed than ever. Why? Because at the Berlin Gamer, for example, their coaches after the session, they need to disinfect the field, the courts. They need to disinfect the balls. They need to arrange the next session. They need to set up the live streaming. So they have a minimum time to escort the players out, come back, do all the sanitization that is needed, and then go back out and pick up the players. We cannot have late drop-offs and late pickups because the coach leads the players inside the facility, and then there's nobody else outside there. Yes, we do have right now staff at the Berlin Gamer, but then the coach needs to go out of their way to go back and ask all the questions, measure the temperature, and go to questionnaire. Please be on time for the Berlin Gamer sessions and for the camp as well. If you saw, we're having staggered time on purpose. So coaches will tell you, okay, come 15 minutes before the session, before the camp starts, right? And then at the time when they're being escorted, we need also parents to pick them up on time because there will be another 4 pods that will be coming in 30 minutes after. So please try to do your best to be on time for the drop-off and pick-up. It will help our coaches immensely and will help us run everything logistically so much. So please be on time. As you know, every 3 weeks now we will be doing a rotation for the camps. This also influences the indoor schedule, so there will be changes every 3 weeks. Coaches will communicate these changes and post them on BIGA schedules. Again, if you have any team-related matters, any questions, go straight to your head coach. And for everything else, I will share the admin email in the chat cloud later on when we finish. So if you have any questions that are not team-related, you can shoot us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as possible, okay? And again, we cannot stress this enough. Everything is subject to change that you see now on BIGA, on schedules, camps. There are new health orders. There are new city restrictions. There's only so much that we can do, and we are really doing our best. We are really proud of our coaching staff, what they've done so far, even in the spring and this fall, considering the circumstances, okay? So we are doing everything we can to structure any practices, any camps, anything we can to support our players and provide all activities that we are able to. But again, they are all subject to change when new health orders kick in or any new city restrictions. City also has that gray area where they are, they can be even stricter than the county themselves and create certain rules that are not really countywide either. So please bear with us through this. We are doing everything we can, and we really hope that very soon we'll be done with this and we'll come out stronger than ever. I firmly believe in this, and I already see how we as a staff work together are much closer with all the stuff. We're helping each other. Coaches are covering for other coaches who are outdoor with their camps. We are coordinating Zoom sessions. Everybody's working together to get through this. So please support your players by supporting your coaching staff, okay? And the favorite part, Q&A. So again, we had a lot of questions. I have them in front of me. I'm gonna read them and I'm gonna give you those answers. After this is done, I think we have 30 questions or so, 35 questions. After we go through all of these questions, then if you feel like some of your questions were not answered or you had questions but you forgot to email them, please feel free to go to the Q&A button in the two chat clouds right there. If you hover over the screen, click on them and shoot a question, and we'll get back to you during this webinar after we finish these questions that were submitted in advance. Okay, first question. Will our August practices be after 3 p.m.? My child will begin school August 19th. Yes. So from August the 17th on, what we'll do is we'll do sessions and camps after 3:30. Originally, we were looking at August 26th because that is the start of the Burlingame School District. However, we have other school districts, and also if we isolate that first week only, then the other 2 weeks would be with a totally different schedule. So we wanted to create consistent 3-week schedule again at the Burlingamer and at for the outdoor camps. So yes, August 17th on, sessions at the Burlingamer, and the camps will be after 3:30, except weekends. Weekends we'll try to use everything from 8 a.m. all the way up till the evening and night, especially at night for the older teams. So yes, when the school starts, we are in the afternoons, evenings, nights. When will BSC be conducting activities outdoor? San Mateo County is not on the state's watch list. Why are the BSC teams not outdoors? We so want to go outdoor. We are not allowed to. So we are not able to get out. The city and the rules are not allowing organized sports to be outside, including the youth sports as well. This is why we are not outside in the regular traditional practice schedule. Trust me, there's nothing that we want more. So this is the reason why we are not. So from July 27th, obviously we'll be outdoor in the camp format. But if the question was directed at why we are not at the regular practices outdoor, this is the reason we are not allowed to. That's why only the camp, essential daycare / summer camp is allowed to be outdoor with this requirements of 3 hours, minimum 3 hours, 3 times a week for 3 weeks with the same group of players, 12 players with one coach, which has been creating a lot of logistical problems for us, but we are doing the best we can to support our players. What are the chances there will be a fall season? If there isn't, could we continue pod training through the fall? Would you consider in the older age group? Okay, let me answer the first one. The chances that there will be a fall season. The fall season is happening 100%. We are happening right now, and we will be happening. If you were asking a question if the league will be happening, we are still waiting to hear from the leagues. It is not up to us. And again, the league will make their best decision based on the public health authorities. And right now, it is not allowable by the latest order, right? Could we continue pod training through the fall? Very possible. That we might do, instead of 3 rotation, we might do 6 times. So everybody gets to do 2 3-week if it does not. If the restriction don't ease over time. Would you consider in the older age groups dividing up the 3-week camp pods by positions? Goalkeepers, strikers. That would be extremely hard because we would be separating those players for 3 weeks. Remember, when they start the camp, they're not allowed to do anything, not even Burlingamer, for 3 weeks, and taking a certain position. A player who plays a certain position for their specialized training would bar them from going to anything else with their own team head coach. So no, we will not be doing any position-based pods this season. We will, however, do clinics. Myself, I am the goalkeeper director. I will be running the goalkeeper clinics, and there will be some other clinics as well during the fall season. Absolutely, but they will be on the Zoom. For the reason that I just explained. So we do not limit those players at, also they would have to be a clinic that will last 9 hours a week for 3 hours apiece for 3 weeks. Again, we would take away those players from their team and from their head coach for 3 weeks. Will masks be required for upcoming outdoor camp? If not, how will coaches and players ensure proper social distancing during the entire session? Masks are not required. Once the session starts, they are required for coaches and players when they're coming in, when they're checking in, when they're being dropped off, when they're picking up, when they're waiting in the lines. They're not required during the actual activities. However, they are allowed to wear masks if they feel more comfortable. So whoever feels that they want to have a mask at the outdoor camp is totally fine. It's like the question is, how will coaches and players ensure proper social distancing? Again, this is phase 2. Phase 2 is allowed. This is what the city rules allow. Phase 2, sharing the ball, passing the ball to each other. However, there is no physical contact. The players are not allowed to touch another player, okay? How will you accommodate all of the players with just one coach for 12 players? This is coaching standard for younger teams. So one coach goes up to 12, 13 players for younger teams, and then for the older, up to 18. So one coach always coaches a team of up to 18, actually, in soccer, especially for the older teams. If the question was how will 12 players fit, how will a team of maybe 15 fit in a 12-player pod? This is why we have 2 pods right now, and combining. And if there is an overspill, there is a space in another pod, and the coach will be there. So each pod will have to have an official instructor, okay, for one reason, is to enforce this COVID prevention rule, which is no physical contact. And this is why you probably saw that we are looking for the parent volunteers to come in and just be there, because the city requires us to have somebody to be there with one pod. But the coach, the way the camp is structured, is allowed to coach both groups, but that coach can physically be right next to one pod. The other pod has to be 4 yards away, 12 feet, which is less than what coach usually is away when they're coaching. So physically, it's going to be a great setup to run 2 pods, but we do need another parent volunteers. So if you are free and you can help us, please reach out to your coach. This is the only way actually for the camp to happen, is to have a parent volunteer. This is because we have 20 coaches and almost 60 teams. And half of our coaches are indoor doing their own sessions and covering for the sessions for the teams whose head coach is outdoor with another team. Remember, our coaches are full-time with us and have up to 4 teams per coach. So this is why we need parents' help in in the logistics of running the camp. Okay.
Amanya, could
Yes,
I just add
absolutely.
to
Please.
that? So, for, we are looking for parents who have the time and energy to come out there for 3 weeks straight with us. But if you also have perhaps a child in college, or if you know of an older player who might be around this summer, or a neighbor whose child is looking for something to do, please send them our way. It doesn't necessarily have to be you who comes out. For example, I was able to get one of my former players to be my extra helper for the 2 pods that I'm running for the coming week. And that's an awesome option as well. So if you have any of those contacts, please definitely, send them our way. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for clarifying that. That's great. I know that we have a lot of families who still have kids at the club, but one of their older kids have graduated from our program, went on to college. Maybe they're back and they would like to get some, community hours, or some for college, something they can use towards their credits. Please send them our way. It would be great to have them help us run the camp. Our other practices canceled during the 3 weeks of camp. Yes. So yes, for those who are attending the camp, everything still goes on. The Zoom goes on, the Berlin Gamer goes on, but the ones who are attending the camp are only attending the camp for those 3 weeks. Okay, and this is a requirement as well. Not only that they cannot attend the Berlin Gamer sessions, they are not allowed to attend any other camp. So please respect this rule for the safety of everybody, okay, of the coaches, players, parents, and everybody involved, okay? Will our player be with his coach and his team? If not, why not? Some teams will be with their coach. Some teams will not be with their coach. Why not? In order to have all our teams have outdoor camps, it's logistically impossible to have all the teams be with their coach at the camp. We have coaches have multiple teams, again, up to 4, okay? There is indoor coverage happening for the other coaches at the Berlin Gamer. So some teams are grouped with the head coach of with the age group director who's running for their team. They will have another team join their pod with another volunteer parent or a volunteer coach who will help run the second pod. Okay, so that is the reason why some teams, for example, you'll have 2003 team and 2005 boys, a very similar level, who are who will be practicing next to each other. Coach will be in charge of running the soccer logistics and running the camp, but there will be another person helping out. And it will be actually with 2003 boys coach, not with 2005 boys coach. But why? Because he's also in another camp, or will be also covering the Berlin Gamer indoor sessions. Okay. Are all coaches being retained for the full season? Only one coach went from a head coach to assistant due to the lower number of teams. Everybody else who stayed with BSC is back, thanks to your support, amazing support in the spring. We also received a PPP loan which helped us, but without the help of our families and the donations, we would not be able to go throughout the spring season in supporting our coaches' pay, and probably would have coaches go and look for other employment and other jobs. So we thank you again for everything that you've done for the coaches in the club. Thanks to that, almost everybody's here. Only one coach went from a head coach to assistant because the teams are not there anymore, lower number of players, which is understandable. But everybody else who is not part of the Berlin Game Soccer Club this season, it has either moved or moved to another location and working at other places. But everybody else who is still part of BSC, who was part of BSC and stayed, is still part of the Berlin Game Soccer Club. Will we be able to choose the group of players our player is exposed to during the camp? So the players that come, they will be coming to their team or age group training, right, with 2 pods. So they're grouped with the players. So the question was, will we be able to choose the group of players? No. So there is up to 12 players based on registration, and they're going with their team or age group that is, one team and another team at the same time, maybe doing pod next to each other, 2 pods next to each other. Okay. There was a mention of having a second group of 12 players at the same time, at the same camp, but with a parent volunteer, with no intended disrespect to the parent volunteer. How do we ensure that our child will continue to receive the BSC level of coaching if they're paired with a non-coach? Again, I mentioned it earlier. Coach is still coaching. The parent volunteer is there because first of all, we must have a parent volunteer there or a coach volunteer, whoever is there, another person who is in charge of the group, mainly to enforce the COVID prevention rule, which is no contact. This is what we were asked from the city as the phase 2, no physical contact. We must have this one other person in another pod. A coach will effectively coach 2 pods, okay? So soccer, logistics, that is all BSC coach, okay? So there will be BSC level of coaching for both groups, so do not worry about that, all right? All we need to make sure is that each pod, each second pod, if you will have that extra person, parent, volunteer, or a former player, or whoever is willing to help us, okay? What is the plan B if San Mateo County goes onto the watch list and indoor fitness facilities need to close down? This is our worst case scenario, which is Zoom. We will go back to Zoom this season. We are going to 3 times per week for each team, if it happens, 3 times, and the sessions will be 1 hour each, okay? So if we go back to Zoom only, we are not allowed to do outdoor. We are not allowed to do any indoor sessions. We'll be going back to Zoom. And then we will do 3 sessions per week for each team, and the sessions will be 1 hour long. How were the teams for 3-week camps prioritized? I checked all the teams, and almost all gold/white boys teams are in the first round of camps when the schools haven't started, which is a perfect period for any camps. It seems that boys teams over girls teams and gold/white over the blue, black, rest of the colors got priority. There is absolutely no favorizing of teams. This was all based on data that we had traditionally. At this time of the year, July, early August, the attendance is always the highest from the first teams. This is how we structured, because we want to make sure that the camps that we run, we don't have 4 players or 5 players there from the team. We want to make sure that this is at capacity or close at capacity. Now, if you put a first team in one pod to pair it, the most sense it makes, right, is the second team to be paired with them because of the similar level, or the coach probably knows that team the best or might be coaching that team as well, right? It says that also the girls over, we actually had 9 or 8 girls team, 9 girls teams, but due to the logistics for the coaches, they were also the first teams, but they were moved to the third week. So it is not true that these gold teams are all in the first week. We have the top teams in the third week, a lot of them, especially the older ones, 2005, 2004, we have 2010 girls, we have 2007 boys. They are all in second, or most of them actually in the third round, okay? So again, this decision was based on the traditional data that we have over past years. At this time, many teams would be doing surf or some other high-end tournaments that they would be preparing during a summer. Coach Jackie is present here. She always starts much earlier than other teams because she wants to prepare the players for the tournaments and what's coming. Usually, I would say, even though we started third week of July, I think that's the 100% or close to 100% of players start coming and attending and back from out of town is mid-August, really. So when the school starts, everybody's back. This way, everybody will actually have a chance to do their camp with the team, and we'll structure it so it goes after the school hours. Okay, so this is the answer. Some teams have times and fields confirmed even for the second and third round of camps, but others do not. They do not have no second and third round teams have a confirmed times. This is why the registration was not sent to, or maybe was sent by some coaches by mistake. The registration for the camps was only for the round 1 for that reason, because we don't want to have parents commit to something that they do not know if they can make it. So once we receive, we are still waiting for the city to provide the field slots for the 2 and 3. We already there. It's kind of pre-approved. We just want to make sure it's 100% before we send it to you, so you can commit. We want to make sure that when we are asking you to commit, you're committing to something that is firm. The dates might have been shared, but not the actual times or fields. So if your coach posted for second or third round and you see times, the only reason might be is because BIGA requires you to put a certain time for a session. But if you click on the event, you will see that it says probably TBD, and even the dates are tentative, okay? So second and third round, the times are not confirmed, and even the dates that are set already there are tentative, okay? And we'll update you as soon as possible, as soon as we receive more information from the city, okay? 8 a.m. indoor trainings are really hard for everyone, but especially harder for younger kids. The reason why we start at 8 a.m. is obviously for the most efficient use of the facility. 8 a.m. is also the time when we do our Berlin Gamer Happy Feet Futsal during the season. 8 a.m. is the time where probably 50 or 60% of the club games happen as well, early in the morning. So this is the very standard time for the youth soccer games, not for practices obviously, but for the time being right now, since it's summer break and there's no school. This provides us a lot of flexibility, so we can fit in all the teams. Is it really? And then the question is, since we are having some coaches go outdoor, can't we fill in the gaps? We are filling in the gaps. We're putting in again to 8 a.m. for the most efficient use of the facility. We still have staff at the Berlin Gamer. I'm sure you noticed there's staff that assists with cleaning, with checking in, with a lot of things. There is a Berlin Gamer staff there. So having them come at 9 and then having them come at 3 p.m. and stuff, that is impossible. When we bring them in, they need to be there for many hours. We cannot bring them in there to be for 1 hour, right? And then again, have another staff look for somebody else 4 hours after. We bring them in there, and that's why if you look at the new Berlin Gamer schedule, which should have been posted or will be posted by your coach today, it starts at 8 a.m. and it goes till some days till 4:30, some days till 12:30. So again, it's for the most efficient use of the facility. Is it really necessary that coaches wear gloves during indoor trainings? They do not protect anyone, period. So we have coaches wear gloves for their own protection, when they take off their gloves, right? If they reach out for their hand, for their nose to scratch or something, right? There is still lesser chance of them having anything on their hands because they're touching a lot more stuff. Also, we don't want them to sanitize their hands throughout the session. We do ask players to bring in the coaches, but coaches engage in session, sometimes maybe touch a cone or a ball or something else on the side, a phone, a thermometer. So we want them to be as protected as possible. And according to the fitness guides and everything that we saw out there from the authorities, the gloves were actually recommended for this type of activity. So we'll keep coaches having to wear gloves. Have you thought about getting
Monica,
Go ahead.
For me, I don't like wearing the gloves during the training, to be honest, but I just want to share that with all the disinfecting that the coaches do, you know, we've kind of done half, we're coaching for an hour and then we're like custodial staff for the other portion between the sessions. There's a lot of chemicals that we have to, you know, and things that we're touching and so on. For me, it helps to have the gloves on when I'm having to use all those kinds of disinfecting, you know, bleach or whatever, you know, like all the liquids and stuff. So that part, it does help for us, for at least for me, to have the gloves on instead of doing it with my bare hands.
Thank you for that, Jackie. I was going there, talking about disinfecting the cones, putting them also inside the liquid, and touching and doing all kinds of disinfection, sanitization work. Definitely, the gloves protect coaches to a certain extent, and will, for that reason, also have them wear the gloves. I see a lot of hands are being raised. Please don't raise hands. Instead, wait until the end of this, and then just type in the question in the Q&A if you have a question and need further clarification to a question that was already answered, okay? Have you thought about giving families a hard deadline to answer commits to the 3-week camp so you can consolidate and give priorities for those who are comfortable with current format? Yes, we've done that. That's what we've done. We gave a hard deadline. It was Monday, July 20th. Coaches sat down, looked at the list, worked out on the logistics, and that's why some of the logistics were changed and certain teams moved around, okay? I don't feel comfortable with any in-person sessions this fall, regardless with how events unfold. How much we will be charged if we choose to only do Zoom sessions for the fall? The fees, all this is just part of what we are offering. The fee is the same. We don't have different services at different registration costs. So looking at this, or anything really, if we do only Zoom this season, that is 3 sessions. If you look at the average, it's between $15 up to $20 for the oldest, highest teams, which is very inexpensive. It ends up being between $15 to $20 per session, even if you're doing only Zoom. On the average, being 18.5 per session, be it a Zoom or in person. It still ends up very, very inexpensive. And again, there is no program that would have a player, hey, I register only for Zoom, I only registered for this, I only registered for that. We are a club, we have a full registration. We have all these services we're trying to provide, and you're free to use all of them and make the most out of it. We can totally understand that there will be families who are not comfortable with in-person training, no matter if it's indoor or outdoor. That's why we're having Zoom sessions, okay? How many hand washing stations are going to be at the outdoor camp? We will have 1 station, which is a sanitizing station for hand, shoes, and ball at the entrance. So the players will be bringing in their own ball, which will get sanitized at the entrance and also before they leave. The same goes with hands. Shoes will be also sanitized at the entrance, the cleats. What is the best case scenario for this fall season in terms of players being able to train or play games? That is the best case scenario. Best case scenario is to play league and training. Again, as you saw the leagues, the latest updates, they postponed the start of the league games to September 12th. Again, and that is very tentative, as you can imagine. That is the best case scenario. We go back to the field, we have a normal schedule, and we train and we play games. Again, this is all up to the public health authorities. In the fall, will the club host practices outdoors at Murray, as well as the indoor facility. Outdoor and indoor will be happening right now the way it is, and in the future the way it is, unless we have an improvement and the restrictions ease over time. So right now we are doing indoor and outdoor. Yes, we will keep doing this as long as we can before we transition into hopefully a normal training schedule, outdoor and indoor. What are the obstacles for having regular outdoor practices after the teams are done with summer camp? Regular outdoor, again, we're going back to the city rules, the county rules, the state rules, that the youth sports, organized sports, teams, clubs, they're not allowed to have regular trainings. They're not allowed to use the fields at all. Parks and Rec has not rented a single field to anybody unless it's a essential daycare / summer camp, which we are doing right now to be able to get this, to get all our teams outdoor finally, to get 3 weeks of camp, because this is the only way we can do any outdoor activity right now. What happens if I'm undecided if I want to bring the girls to the 3-week program? If you're undecided, please do not register. Why? Because the coach will think you're coming, and you might be taking a spot of somebody that wants to come, but they don't come. The coach cuts them because they're, they didn't register in time, or we have to move them to another pods or schedule them in another team because of that. Please, if you're undecided, do not register. Just wait until you know for sure and then register, okay? I assume the questionnaire has children in round 2 and 3 of camps, so there is still plenty of time. We will send that once we actually know the exact times on those dates, and when the dates are also confirmed. They might be changed, okay? The weeks will be the same, but the days might be changed. My family is not comfortable with the indoor sports at this time. In addition to the online training, doesn't work for my son. He just doesn't want to play soccer with a computer. We understand. Would it be possible for my son to help participate in the club, but only join the outdoor training? You can do that. You can join the season and do outdoor only. However, there is only one registration, okay? There is only one fee and one registration, and that is a full-time registration with us. It is up to you what you want to choose to use from these programs. We would love you to, use all of it. However, we totally understand that this, is a time where people are making decisions to protect their family the best way they can, and the way they see the situation is totally up to the families to decide. But yes, if you want to do only outdoor, we might be even doing 2 rotations of this, so you get 6 weeks of outdoor. 2 weeks, but yes, ends up being 6 weeks of outdoor training if we do the rotation, maybe even 3. That was the last question on the advanced questions. So let me see if we have any Q&A in the meantime. Okay, 5 were already answered. Thank you, Coach Jackie. Thank you, Coach Dushko. I see you answered some questions in writing already.
Yeah, you could go through them. Nemanja answered some questions, and there are still more questions open, so please go through them.
I'm going to go quickly through these that were answered. Are the kids expected to wear masks while training indoor, outdoor? Indoor, yes. Outdoor, no. However, they can wear them if they feel more comfortable with it. If you as a parent feel more comfortable with your child having a mask, please have them wear a mask outdoor as well. We are concerned about the kids training with masks on. It's not easy to breathe while wearing a mask. Absolutely agree. Coaches have been giving a lot of water breaks and somewhat breathing breaks. Well, they are, come down a little bit. There is no heavy heart rate activities, so they can catch a breath. So we have more breaks than usual. Even though the session is so short at the Berlin Gamer, 1 hour, we still give them a lot of breaks, okay? Coaches also are working out hard at the Berlin Gamer because they're moving a lot and demonstrating. They also need these breaks to catch breath. Does the person who helps at a camp need to be the same one? Go ahead, Jackson.
Can I add just a little extra in there? Yes, the coaches definitely feel it too with the masks on. And then we can only imagine how much harder it is for the players because they're doing so much, exerting so much more energy. So we do give the lots and lots more breaks, but we also try to reassure the players that they can take the break when they need it. So if, for example, the coach doesn't say it's a break, beforehand, I always make sure to reiterate to my players, hey, if you feel like you need to pause or you just need to like slow your breathing down again, go for it. That's okay. You know, that I want them to feel comfortable doing so. And then on top of that, just something I've noticed, I've tried so many different kind of masks to see which ones are better in terms of like how the breathability for just like how close it is to my mouth and my nose. So my recommendation, parents, if you're thinking of like what kind of masks, I obviously talk to your child of what they're most comfortable with, but I have felt that things that are a little more structured, the cloth that can like actually have a space for you is much better than the really soft ones. First, I thought the soft ones were going to be good and be better, but because they're so soft, when you're breathing into them, they get wet, they, you know, from all your breath, it actually suctions in a lot more easily and makes it harder to breathe. So I've noticed that the ones of mine, my masks that have a little more structure and keeps the spacing, helps. It helps it so that the cloth doesn't like come into my nostrils and into my mouth when I breathe in. So that it's just a, you know, personal preference, but it is worth mentioning because I said that to some of my players and they tried it and they found it was a little bit more helpful for them too.
Thank you, Jackie. That's a great insight. Thank you so much. Does the person who helped at a camp need to be the same person all 3 days, all 3 weeks, all 3? Unfortunately, yes. This is a requirement that the city set, not us. If it was up to us, we would love to get as many parents as possible and just have them do a 1 day each, 9 parents. We cannot do it. The same is requirement for a coach. So coach and a parent are really seen as the same as an instructor. And this is why we need somebody to commit for all 3 weeks. And we know it's very hard, but we hope that out of the group that we have at the Burlingame Soccer Club, there will be a parent who will be able to help the coaches run the club. Can they attend school while also attending camp? Yes. From the last, when I talked to City, which was last Friday, Monday, this Monday, 2 days ago, school is okay. Okay, so this is the latest from the city. If anything changes, we will be sure to let you know. But right now they're looking at the school as another activity that is okay to do. And also they might be even thinking that maybe they ease for, you know, not to be 3 hours, but 2 hours maybe during the school. Because obviously if the kids are going 9 to 3, it would be very hard to get them there, you know, 3:34, then have a camp for 3 hours. That would be a lot, right? So it will be just a more intense camp with maybe less break or no snack time during the school year if they reduce the number of hours. Okay. There's the person. Can they? Sorry. If my son is out of town during his assigned camp, would it be possible for him to attend the second 3-week session with another team or age group? So this, we would first need to see if that pod is filled, okay, to give priority to the team, okay? And then have your head coach reach out to the other coach and see what the possibilities are of another player from another team joining for 3-week camp, okay? Right now, we are trying our best to fit in the actual teams. We understand that some people might be out of town. And again, the logistics that we put together are what we think the most efficient. But please reach out with this question to your coach and see what happens in the next 2 rounds based on registration and the capacity, and we'll go from there, okay? Can you provide the contact info from whoever from Burlingame is not allowing outdoor training for club sports? Can parents help advocate for this? It is Burlingame city of Burlingame, with more specific Burlingame Parks and Rec. And then it's actually the county, which is actually the state. Now in the latest order, from June 17th, the county is aligned with the state. So it's the state really that is setting this rule. And then the counties are following, and the city is following, plus adding even stricter rules. Yes, you can definitely reach out to the Burlingame Parks and Rec and express your concerns. If you have any concerns with the structure, you can definitely reach out to the city of Burlingame and the city Parks and Rec. Okay.
Nemanja, just to add to that, please, and I answered this question as well, and I appreciate your answer. We, as a club, we created recently a PR committee, and we had a couple parents volunteer who joined us and will be part of our group, part of our governing body, and they will be on a PR committee. Their first and main objective will be to help us through this transition and coordinate with the city, coordinate with the parents, and help us get our players back to the field, if allowed by public health authorities, and getting back to normal as soon as we can. So if some other parents on this meeting are interested in joining us and joining this committee, you know, they can reach out to us, and we are more than happy to use their support and help.
Duško, thank you so much for jumping in and adding that. Very important. We had some parents joining us. We definitely need always look for parents to help us run with our relationship with the city, with PR, with the field committee. So please, if you're interested, always reach out to us. We always welcome any help we can get from the parents. I will leave again the admin email later. And just to add, in the last couple of weeks, we actually had some even phone calls and meetings and Zoom meetings with the county officials, even with the state senator's office. We are just trying to do everything to advocate and push for not Burlingame Soccer Club. We're talking about the youth sports and activities in general. We're doing everything we can and go above and beyond of what we usually do in a regular soccer season. This season, you know, we've got to talk with politicians, with senators, with county representatives, with health department who cleared us for the Burlingamers. So if you have any expertise in these fields, we would definitely welcome any help we may get from the parents. Okay, so please reach out to us. Once the school starts, will the camp be 3 hours? I think I answered that earlier. From the talk I had with the city, it's very likely that we would reduce this requirement, but it's not confirmed yet. Which, in case this happens, they keep 3, we will just have to do for most of the teams one session during the weekdays in the afternoon, and then we'll fit in the weekend, 2 weekend sessions, Saturday, Sunday. This way it's not conflicting with the school schedule. And then we have another 10 questions in the open ones. Have you considered recommending masks, even if you're not requiring them during the entirety of camp? Yes. I'm not sure if it was in the first email I sent, but it will be with all other information, as well as together with the maps and all other informations. It will definitely be there. And thank you for asking this question. Thank you for doing all of this work to get kids on the fields and back with their teams and coaches. Just like everything else, it will all be determined by the county state. We're all painfully aware of that. It is obvious how much you and the coaches care about the players and want them to be together, training and playing. We appreciate it. Thank you. I thought it was the question. All right, thank you so much. We are glad that that the parents are aware of this situation, and that they see how many hats coaches are wearing this season and past season, especially this season, from being the person who is sanitizing, from being the person who is covering, person who is running the live streaming. Soon we'll become programmers and video editing specialists too.
Nemanja, who is this parent? Let's get
it's
him
anonymous.
For the
it's anonymous parent.
I
was just about to say thank you for
please.
the modesty. Thank you. Okay.
It's amazing. Thank you so much.
What percentage of BSC players are currently attending the indoor trainings? So it varies. You will have a team that has a full attendance, and then you will have a team that has 4 players, that has 6 players, okay? So it really depends on the team. It goes from team to team. The reason why, people are away. People are not comfortable yet with the indoor training. Some people were not comfortable with the indoor training the first week or first day. Then they heard from the other parents how it is, or heard from the other kids how it went, or they saw the video that we sent out, or are now seeing on the live stream how the sessions are handled, and it's safe, and it's very spacious, and there's a lot of spacing between the players, and they're all, the physical distancing rules are strictly enforced. So we are getting more and more each day, which is great. But percentage-wise, we can't talk percentage right now, because for some it's 100%, for some is 40%, right? Depends, really depends on the team.
Nemanja, if you don't mind me saying, you know, we never started with the entire club, 100% of the club, July 6th, as Nemanja mentioned earlier in the presentation. So we do have some teams, the most competitive teams, who start earlier in July, but most of our players start usually last week of July, first week of August. So we are also fully aware, yes, there is a pandemic, you know, we do everything in our power to make it safe for our players. We also understand that some people are not comfortable yet, but we also understand that at this time of the year, there are families who are away, and we are trying to provide them service training through Zoom. So that's also part why we might not have maybe 80 or 70 or 80% of the attendance on our training at this point. But we are very happy, you know, if we have one player on a training, our coach will do technical work with one player. You will get full attention of Jackie for 55 minutes with one player or 2 players. I saw her last week doing the session with 2 players. You know, it's like having 15 players on a field. It's amazing, you know, and we absolutely want to do everything we can to help every player in Burlingame Soccer Club. So.
Thank you, Duško. Thank you for jumping in to clarify that. And that also piggybacks on what we commented earlier on that question about how certain teams were placed in round 1. It's again, in a regular season when there is no pandemic, at this time of the year, there's so many people who are away, you know, not only, you know, traveling to abroad. Now, I know that a lot of people are not traveling abroad because of the pandemic, but there's people are still going to Tahoe, people are still going to Yosemite National Parks. They're still away at the time of the year, even during the pandemic. So that's one of the reasons why, even in the regular season, we would not have 100% attendance right now. How will the fees be adjusted if there are no games allowed by the county/city? So the team fees, which cover the league fees, player cards, tournaments, are always separate from the club, right? So if these team fees are charged, they won't be used during the fall, right? So it will be automatically transferred to the spring. Club fee, the way it will be adjusted is if we do not have games, we will not pay referees, right? If we are not allowed for a certain amount of time to be out the door, there will be less expenses for the fields. So this will minimize our expenses. At the same time, we have expenses that we never had before due to the pandemic, from disinfectants to equipment. At the same time, we will, if we reduce based on this, and we will, because there is, we will in case there is no league and the regular training outdoor, even the club fee, portion of club fee will be transferred to the spring 2021. Again, most of our expenses are pretty fixed. This is coaching staff, directorship, management, professional fees, accounting office, the Burlingame facility. So not having a field, not having a regular season, if we don't practice outdoor and have games, definitely will lower the expenses to a certain degree. But that difference will be credited via credit towards the spring 2021 accounts for the players. Okay. If coach is only allowed due to county city or exposure to one pod, how can they coach 2 pods effectively? Okay, so again, they are allowed to be in a pod, in one pod physically. Okay. Next pod, which is 4 yards away, 12 feet, is counted as another pod. 4 yards or 12 feet is something that coaches always have, even during regular season when they're coaching. They're not in the players' faces when they're coaching, right? There's always a distance. So if they're on, let's say the pod, one pod is on the left side, and they are right at the edge of one pod, and then they're 4 yards away from the other pod. So they can run two sessions at the same time in a camp structure easily. It's not a problem. We do have to have another person, official, who is there for 3 hours a day just to enforce this no contact rule. Okay, coach could probably also do that for both groups, but the city requires it, and this is why we are asking for your help. Not a question. Yeah, go ahead, Jax.
I totally understand this parent's concern. I, know that with one pod, you're going to actively be able to like walk into the session and so on. Whereas the other pod, I'd have to be 4 yards away from them. So coaches are aware of it. But we all know as coaches how to project our voices. So we're good at that. If anyone's met me, they know I'm pretty good at that. And then, I do understand that the being like going into the middle of like the field with them, that part we wouldn't be allowed to do. But I do know that the coaches are going to be looking and making sure that both groups are being run well. The setup is the same on both sides. The exercises, the drills, the intensity, that kind of thing. But yeah, the coaches are probably gonna lose their voices a little bit, but aside from that, I can definitely be heard for much more than 4 yards distance. So we'll do our best. We have to keep the distance, but we will make sure that your players will still get the attention.
Thank you, Jackie. Great clarification. Next question. It says not the question, but a big thank you for your focus on the operation details, for your communications, for your overall effort. As a parent joining from another club, welcome to BSC. I can tell you it is truly outstanding. So thank you, Nemanja, Jackie, Duško, and everyone on the coaching staff. Thank you, Claude London. Welcome to BSC. I see you said you just came from another club. Welcome to BSC. Thank you for this wonderful note. We will do our best to support. We always do our best to support the players, the families, in any way that we can, and we are doing that right now. We were doing that last season, and we'll keep doing that as long as we're here with the club. Thank you. Would it be best and realistic to plan for worst case scenario until there is a vaccination in place, which realistically be sometime next year? If you're talking about planning planning the worst case scenario on the club level, we definitely are ready for the worst case scenario, and we mentioned that earlier. That is 3 times a week Zoom sessions. So instead of for something was 2, we're going to increase to 3 times, and we're going to increase from a regular session that was 40 minutes, going to be 1 hour each session. If it is only Zoom, 3 times a week, 1 hour. Hopefully, we're not going to go back to that. Hopefully, the way we evolve from Zoom to indoor, from indoor to outdoor, to a camp at least structure. Hopefully we evolve to phase 3 and hopefully phase 4. But worst case scenario again is being on the Zoom again for some time. Okay. Have the coaches considered giving the players workouts to do in their own that they will maintain aerobic endurance in addition to the technical training they have been doing, or doing more sprints, etc. via Zoom? So this was our virtual training 1. Now virtual training 2 is Zoom live sessions, and virtual training 3 also live streaming the Berlin Gamer sessions for the players who are not there. Some coaches will have been communicating with their teams in the past, even when the Zoom started, sending the additional workouts. So yes, the coaches have been doing this. Duško, you might want to jump in and just address if this is going to be something down the line for this fall season in case we go back to the Zoom only.
Yeah, this is absolutely great question. Number one, we love your feedback, and please feel free to provide the feedback to Nemanja, myself, or your own team coach. Number two, as you can see, we started with the indoor training twice a week. We added now outdoor training. We are adding a live Zoom streaming. We are going to add clinics, additional training for our players in August when we have all players back from vacation. It will be Zoom sessions with not just your team coach. It will be with different coaches who will do maybe soccer skills, ball mastery via Zoom, and provide opportunity for players to do extra. We are going to also
clinics as well, just to jump
yes, goalkeeper clinics. So we are absolutely trying to provide as much training as possible to our players. We are going to also talk to coaches, and feel free to reach out to your coaches to get evaluation of your own boy or girl, and they can tell you what are the things, what is the area, technical area, or a physical part of the game, or maybe injury prevention for all the players that your girl or boy should focus more on. We will be asking coaches to run a player evaluation with each player in a club, and also give you some individual plan for your own kid, what your player needs the most and what should be focused in the next couple months.
Thank you, Duško. I understand that there will be no physical contact during the trainings outdoor, but I missed what you said earlier about whether social distancing of 6 feet, etc., between players during training is still required. Could you repeat? Thanks. So phase 2 of the health orders, the way that is structured and the way the city requires it, does not require a physical distancing. However, since there is no physical contact, the players will be away from each other. 6 feet apart is not required. So during the water breaks, there will be a designated area for snack and water, because we are aware that during the snack break, the players will want to catch up with each other, especially the younger ones might start, running around and playing tags and stuff. So they will have their own little designated area for where to be during the breaks, so we can control that at least during the break. During the session, the coach will have the session planned out, so there is no physical distancing. There is no physical contact. Therefore, there will be no physical touch in between two players. And this is the reason why we are allowed to do the groups of 12. This is called a stable group of 12, and that's why they are required to stay for 3 weeks, due to this reason, right? If anything, God forbid, happens, this stays within the 12-player group, right? So this is the structure for the 12-player pod as mandated by phase 2. Okay.
Nemanja, can I add a little bit
yes,
to that?
Of course.
So the coaches also had our own coaches meeting in preparation for the camps, and how how can we adjust what we're going to teach for 3 hours each session, with the certain restrictions of no contact and so on. But we also all are very aware of wanting to keep distance, and we know that to make sure that they don't have contact, we already have to kind of implement buffer spaces. So the coaches have discussed various drills and games and things that we can do where we would automatically kind of place like a zone, like a no-fly zone, if you will, where if we are going to try to do a rondo or some sort of keep away, if it's a 3v1, there's going to be a smaller space where the defender has to stay in, then a larger section off for the passers have to be outside of, and so the defender will never be up against the same boundary as the attacker. Things like that. It's going to be really hard to really measure out 6 feet for everything. But definitely, like Nemanja said, the part where it is easy to control and where we can do that will be water breaks and so on. I definitely intend to set up an area for each of my 12 players in a space where they'll be able to see each other and talk during water break, because again, the social emotional part is really important. But I still want them separate. I'm not gonna, not like back when it was pre-pandemic time where they could all just kind of pile on together and sit super close, and we're not going to allow for that. But how we're going to try to make sure there's no contact, I think we'll naturally have to create buffer spaces which will keep them apart. I do think they're going to run past each other. They're going to be in those like maybe lanes and so on. But I do understand their concern about still trying to keep that social distance. But it might not always be 6 feet all the time.
Thank you so much, Jackie, for this thorough explanation. Just to add, since we're talking about pods in the camp, please have your player bring their own soccer ball, okay? We will disinfect that ball at the entry point, and we'll disinfect it at the exit point as well, okay? Are the camps still going to be 3 days a week once the school starts? Yes, they will be 3 days a week once the school starts. We just don't know if it's going to be 3 hours yet. Right now we are planning for 3 hours, but we are still waiting for the city to confirm this. Thank you for doing a great job with all of these trainings and advocating for all the safety measures. This is very much appreciated. We feel safer with each session. Thank you. That's definitely our priority right now during the pandemic, is to still train, but in the safest environment possible for the players and for the coaches as well, and for the parents. That's why they're not allowed to come to the field during the camp. There's only drop-off, just like at the Berlin Gamer. There is no entry for the parents, only for players and coaches. The same will be at the camps. Okay, drop-off and pick-up only. I know I know there will be no contact, but will social distancing and training 6 feet? You just answered that. Jackie just answered that. We will have the physical distancing planned out, but however, this 6 feet is not guaranteed at all times, and it's not required during phase 2. And this is why this is a stable group of 12 for 3 weeks. My kids have been enjoying indoor trainings, and I think the safety measures you put in place are working very well for us. Thank you for your effort, for making it work. Thank you. It's great to see this kind of comments. We definitely are happy to see that our players and parents are also satisfied with what we and the coaches have done so far. And we already received some emails from the parents. Thank you. Keep supporting your player by supporting the club and supporting the coaches. We're here for you. When you live stream at the Berlin Gamer, can the coaches see the players that are dialing in? They will see them at the log in, when they're logging in, to see who is the participant. At the time when the training starts, the coach will be focusing on demonstrating the actual drills, right? So there will be a phone or iPad a couple of feet away, and coach will be in the session, fully involved in the session demonstrating. So they'll probably be able to see them during the break. They'll be able to see them when they are logging in or saying bye at the end. But when it comes to the session, they will be fully involved in demonstrating throughout the entire session, which is 1 hour long. Yeah. Duško, you're off the mic.
Thank you. Thanks, Nemanja. And just to add to that, actually, the camera will be zooming coach. So coach will do the demo, and kids who are in Berlin Gamer or who are doing online training, they will be able to follow the instructions, and they will be able to see coach in action doing the demo. Okay.
Just having tried it out the past 2 weeks doing the Zoom live, just so you know that the coaches will do their best to, we'll let all the players in who are dialing in for Zoom in so they can watch, but the focus is going to be on the players at the facility. It's very hard to provide feedback and watch the kids on the screen while also providing live feedback to the players who are in the facility. So it's really important for your player, if they're dialing in, to listen to the corrections being made to other players in the facility. So then they can, okay, we're supposed to use this part of the foot, or we're supposed to lean over this way, or, this part of the ball, or whatever the corrections are. Then they are going to need to try to implement that at home.
Thank you, Jackie. Couple more questions. Next one. No need to read. I already gave myself away. Sorry, I'm not going to mention your name. No need to read this out loud for the group. That was the part. We just wanted to say that coming from another club, how very impressed we are with BSC and the organization. We have obviously spent countless hours planning camps and logistics and make it possible for our kids to be able to play. Thank you. We are excited to be part of the club. Thank you. Sorry, I gave you away. I started reading your first part where it says no need to read this out loud. So thank you. Welcome to Burlingame Soccer Club. We are super happy to have you, and definitely appreciate the fact that you see the effort the coaches are putting during these unprecedented times. Given the scenario that Coach Jackie just shared, how can you do that with 2 pods and keep the focus of the players? As a first responder, I don't see how this can be maintained with 2 pods. Given the scenario Coach Jackie just shared, that was at 8:21. I'm not sure what was the, sorry, Jackie, 5 minutes ago you shared something about how you maybe run 2 groups. The question is how can you do that with 2 pods and keep the focus of the players? So the coach is still in charge when it comes to the soccer logistics and running the soccer part of the camp. The other person who is in charge is there only for physical non-contact. I think it was Jackie. I think it was probably targeted towards those channels and them staying somewhat 6 feet or more apart with 2 groups. And this is exactly what the second person will be there for second pod. This is what I have to answer. Go ahead, Jackie, if you have anything else.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure what the person who asked the question, when they say how can you do that with 2 pods, I'm not sure what specifically.
I think how can you do with 2 pods, be able to see that they're running through these channels and they're not touching and running.
Okay.
And this is why we have another parent. This is why another parent or volunteer coach is there to make sure that this is ran properly. Okay.
I think the other part is really emphasizing, and we'll do this every day with the kids, and they'll get a hang of it, that those are the rules. There is no contact. We are going to create these zones, if you will, that they're not supposed to enter, and that provides that little bit of buffer space. If they take a step in, then they're still not going to touch the other kid. So if it was about monitoring the spacing, then yes, the other adult or assistant or whomever, parent, volunteer, will be there to help keep track of all of that.
Thank you, Jackie. What is the plan if there is, in parentheses, potential exposure? So here is what we are asking from everybody is, if a player, God forbid, somebody in your family or some friends that your player was exposed to, or a player was exposed to somebody in the family who had it, to please notify us ASAP and keep the kid at home and do the testing and come back when the tests are negative. If somebody is exposed, if you were referring to somebody being a coach or one of the 12 players in the 12-player pod, we will have to shut down that pod for at least 2 weeks, or for at least as long as everybody comes back with negative result for COVID. So they need to test for negative for COVID. So if anybody in the group turns out to have COVID, be the player or coach, we would have to cancel that pod, unfortunately, for everybody's safety, and have everybody test for COVID and have them come back only when they submit to the club official results of being COVID negative. Okay. Hey, Rio. Thank you so much for all that you do. I'm sorry if I missed this, but being in the soccer camp pod means they can be involved in any other sports or any camp sports. Correct. So we ask that if you commit to BSC camp, that you please stay only with us for those 3 weeks, no other camps, okay? From the city standpoint and from our standpoint, of course, when the school starts, it's okay to go to school. It's still okay to go to school and go to BSC. That will be fine, but no other camp, no other activities, please, if you're doing the BSC camp. Okay, we are trying to keep a stable group of 12 for 3 weeks. Okay. There are certain masks which are athletic based, like Zenash used by SF Giants. I wasn't aware of that one. For kids that would like to wear masks, are there any athletic type masks that you recommend for outdoor play? Jackie, earlier you mentioned, I'm not sure if this parent was able to join us earlier when you addressed that, but Coach Jackie addressed that in a very elaborate reply. So I'm going to record this. It's being recorded as we speak, this webinar, and I will share with the families tonight. So you can definitely zoom through and find some answers if anybody missed anything. You can go back, but maybe Jackie, you can just jump in on this one quick.
I don't know of any specific brand, unfortunately, or anything that was like an athletic wear type mask. I'm still searching for a good one too. So if anyone knows, ping me and let me know. But I did recommend that you find something that's a little more structured, like a material or a fabric that can keep a little bit of a pocket in front of the nose and mouth, because that structure allows for it to prevent actually from like sucking in. I've used some softer masks and softer cloth, and when I breathe in, especially when I'm breathing heavily, it comes and it blocks my nose and it blocks my mouth, and it's harder to breathe. So I found that when I wear my masks that actually keep kind of a little bit of a bubble in front and just stay out, those tend to be better, easier for me to breathe because they don't suck in when I breathe in. But I don't know of anything that's a specific brand or anything like that.
Thank you, Jackie. We have another parent who actually sent a message about this. It said, the Mission Towel brand makes a good one for athletes. It's moisture wicking as well. Thank you for this. Haven't heard of this one either.
Then we should share this with everybody then, okay?
Yes. We will. We can do this in an email that we send to all the families later, together with the link from this webinar, because it's being recorded right now. I just need some time to upload it on YouTube and share it. Does this mean the second and third round of camps gets less training hours than the first round? I guess this is assuming that the city reduces the requirement. We're not looking at the training hours. We're not looking at it this way. The only reason why we are being there for 3 hours is because we are required to be there 3 hours. If it was our choice, we would do 1.5 hour practice sessions, right? We have to be there for 3 hours. It's mandated by essential daycare summer camp rule. And again, for these 3 hours, there will be many water breaks, there will be snack breaks, some social. The players will not be fully training for 3 hours, obviously, right? But when it comes to 1.5 hour or 2 hour training, if it happens during the actual school season, if the city eases the restrictions, then, if a camp is 2 hours, that is perfectly fine with us. It's just going to be a little more intense with training. There will be no snack break, water breaks, of course, there. But it is definitely not our decision and not our choice. We are just following and adjusting to what is in front of us, literally day by day. Okay, so giving less hours or more hours, this is not intent of ours. This is just what we have to comply by right now. These are the rules that we have to be there for 3 hours, right? So we'll give plenty of training to all 3 rounds. Of course, if everything goes well, and we hope it does with the San Mateo County right now, we are looking very good with the numbers, and I guess we are the only one who have the only county that has certain permissions in the area. So let's hope it stays this way, and then the round 2 and round 3 and even round 1, we're still a couple of days away. Now we're going day by day, knowing the health orders might change any moment. Last question. It sounds like the live stream does not mimic a practice. So live stream is something like a workout. Maybe parents are doing online workouts or yoga, right? It's being live streamed, and players are looking at what the coach is doing and repeating that, and maybe seeing also what other players who are physically present at the Berlin Gamer and doing that. So that is live, a live streaming, right? So the players are actually repeating after the coach and hearing the common corrections that are being provided to the players who are in the facility. So a follow-up question is, a majority of players who are not comfortable with being inside practicing with a mask, will 2/3 of the practices remain this way if we stay online? If we only stay online, that means we are not at the Berlin Gamer, right? That means we are only on Zoom 3 times a week, 1 hour each session. This will be a regular standard Zoom session that you have been having and that you had in the spring, where the coach and another coach who is spotlighting are at the session and demonstrating, but also giving feedback and correcting the players who are on the Zoom training, if that makes sense. So if we only go back to online, which is the worst case scenario, it's not streaming. It's not coach just streaming and not interacting with players online. It will be a full interaction, just like it has been so far, and in the spring and in the fall. Okay, the streaming is only for the players who want to not miss, if you will, and attend remotely the sessions at the Berlin Gamer, because either they're not comfortable with in person or having a mask and training, or they're away for vacation or for whatever reason with their family and want to jump on Zoom and get a workout. Okay.
Can I add something on that one,
Yes,
Magnus?
absolutely.
I believe that for the Zoom Live players and so on, they will need, there's definitely an element of, you know, focus and self-motivation from the player to just like kind of listen and do their best to copy what's going on. They're not going to get as many feedback points as they do during, I guess what you call a normal Zoom session, like our other Zoom sessions where the coaches are, the audience is directly just the Zoom group. Whereas on this one, you're split. You know, you have your audience is the live group, and then you're live streaming the other one. Your focus on that audience is on the Zoom call is not as frequent as it would be on a regular. So I recommend, and this is what I've done with some of my other families that have not been comfortable coming in, but they're like, my kid will attend as many Zooms as she can, you know, and they want the one that's a little bit more feedback based than just live stream, is contact your coach. This, you know, and the coaches collaborate. We talk to each other, and I've given the contact info or maybe the schedule. I just ask other coaches who have comparable level teams, age groups, boys or girls, and ask, hey, is it okay if, you know, 2 of my players also jump in on your Zoom? And now that the coaches feel a little more comfortable doing the Zooms and we're better at it, there was a steep learning curve there at the beginning. But, you know, if I'm already running a Zoom, I'm okay if 2 or 3 players from another team come and join that Zoom as well. For the coaches, we want the kids to get as much touches and training as they want. So, you know, if I had a player who is like, well, you only run one Zoom for our age group or our team, and I don't want to come into Berlin Gamer, I recommend to them, okay, here are 3 other Zoom sessions from the boys, the age group above, the other sister team that does it on a different day. Try to join theirs as well. And that's another option that you could try for.
Thank you so much, Jackie.
That's a great point on the Zooms, Jackie. And really, we really encourage your parents to take this feedback and coordinate with the coaches. So yeah, absolutely. We believe we can provide enough training for our players, as Nemanja said, and we will be adding Zoom trainings as a skill trainings for our players, you know, where they come to 7v7 training, 99 game format training with a certain coaches. Might not be the same coaches that they have on the team, but we will do the best. And it will be on the families and players, as Jackie mentioned, to also coordinate with the coaches if they want to do more, okay?
That was our last and 61st question. Thank you so much, everybody, for attending tonight. Hopefully, we cleared all if there was any confusion or any questions that you had. Hopefully, we answered all of your questions. Please feel free. Oh, wait, there's some more. No, it's not in Q&A. It's in the Oh, let's see messages. Thank you everybody for typing these messages. I thought there were some questions in the chat cloud. It's all nothing but love and support. Thank you so much for supporting the club. Please keep supporting the club by supporting your coaches and supporting your players. We here at BSC are doing our best to do everything we can that is allowed by the public authorities, by the health department. We'll keep doing our best in the future. This is all we can give you right now for the fall 2020 regarding the information. As you know, everything is changing day by day. And as we asked earlier, for those who were not earlier on call, everything is subject to change. If you look at the schedule, it might change in 3 days if there is a new health order. We hope it doesn't. But please understand that it's not in our control. We do thank you for your flexibility and for understanding that we are doing our best given the circumstances. Okay, I'm gonna be posting this webinar on our YouTube channel tonight, and then I will share it via Baiga with all the families. Thank you everyone who attended. There was a lot of attendees tonight, a lot of great questions. If you have more questions that are team related, please go straight to your head coach. If you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to send us an email at, I'm typing it right now, you can see it in your chat cloud, admin@burlingamesoccerclub.org. Hopefully I did it right. Okay, here it is, admin@burlingamesoccerclub.org. Shoot us an email and we'll do our best to get back to you within 24 hours, okay? Coach Duško, Coach Jackie, anything to add before we close the session?
Thank you again. Like Nemanja said, we really, really appreciate your patience and understanding. And, we do, as coaches, we feel we're all in it together. We really do. I know that sounds so cliche these days, but it's so true. So I'm grateful for being part of this community and village. So thank you. And, we look forward to seeing your children out there, whether it's on the field at Burlingamer or on Zoom. We like it. So thank you.
Thank you, Jax. Duško.
Thank you, Jackie. So thank you, parents, for coming tonight. We completely understand this is not perfect. We want to get back to normal season, normal lives. But we also understand, even if it's normal season, we wouldn't be perfect. It will be many things that we would be looking for your feedback to help us to understand what are the needs for your players, for your kids. It wouldn't be perfect even then. One thing I wanna say, I think in the next couple, I wanna look at this situation in the last couple of months from positive side, and I think that the benefits of this situation, if I can call it like that, we will see in the next couple of years. We focus, we want to have a competition, we want to be back and play the league, but I talking to many of our coaches, talking to some coaches in the area also, we focus as a coaches, we have to admit that very early on competition, on a system of play, on a tactical understanding of the game, and our players miss a technical part of the game, creativity, ball mastery, sense for the ball, psychomotricity specific to soccer. So they are missing that because we focus very early on a competition. This might be like a blessing from the sky, that in the last couple months, our players are really working on the technical part of the game, getting lots of touches on the ball and really improving their technical abilities, which we will see in the next couple of years when they get to, most of our players, 80-90% are youngest when they get to high school age. So please support your players, support our coaches. We are also looking this from not just seasonal standpoint. We are looking this from long term. We want to help our players. We want to help our coaches, support and keep them not just for this season, but for the years to come. Thank you, parents, for being a part of this and supporting all of us through this challenging time.
Thank you, Duško and Jackie. Again, thank you everybody for attending tonight. Again, if you have any questions, admin@burlingamesoccerclub.org. more info coming from your coaches and from the club in the next couple of days, especially for the round 1 camp families. There will be some more instructions. Everybody else can expect an email either later tonight. I'm not sure how long it's going to take to upload an hour and 50-minute video to YouTube. I might send it early morning instead. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime, and we'll get back to you ASAP. Thank you again, and looking forward to a great fall season with all of you. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Ciao, Jackie. Ciao, Nemanja.